Are we live? Hi everybody, how are you guys holding up during the pandemic? I know that, well, we're in Minnesota. It's actually still snowing here. Outside, we had a blizzard, so I wanted to make something comforting, easy, and relatively inexpensive. Tuna noodle hot dish. So I'm starting off with egg noodles, and you want to use half of the bag, so you need 8 ounces out of this 1 pound bag. Okay, I've already started my noodles and I've got 5 minutes left on those. They're in this back pot with a teaspoon of salt. You want to give them a stir so they don't stick together, just like my handy dandy cameraman is doing. Now I'm going to make, while that's happening, I'm going to make the sauce. You want like a medium high heat. And I'm going to start with melting the butter. So you have 2 tablespoons of butter and a half a teaspoon of salt. Just drop those in there, get it melted. While that is melting, I've got 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And on top of that, I have 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. So we're going to make, this is all from scratch. It's going to taste better than the one that you just open the cans of soup and mix it up with the cooked noodles. And so it's a little bit more satisfying when you go through the steps of making it all from scratch. And believe me, those little extra details, they make a difference in the way that this tastes. And it's just worth the extra effort. So the trick to making a sauce like a gravy is that you want to cook this flour. You want that flour to cook. So you need to let it go for a little bit. The total cook time on this flour, on this sauce, will be about 5 minutes. So my butter is melted. I want to incorporate the flour. I'm using a whisk. I'm going to let that heat up. And I have to have, in order to do this, I need 1 cup of broth. And I'm using vegetable broth, but you can also use chicken broth or whatever kind of broth you have. Whatever kind of broth that you like. So my broth is ready to go. I also have 1 cup of milk. And I have preheated my oven to 375 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and spray down my casserole dish so that that's ready to go and it won't stick on me. And that door doesn't want to close.
You just give stuff to me over here. You don't put it away.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. So now this is getting going. You can see it's cooking. You don't want it to taste like raw flour. So you need to let this cook for about 2 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and add my spices. My garlic powder. My onion powder. Now, I'm going to go ahead and begin adding my broth. I'm swishing it around so that it incorporates correctly. Turn that down just a little bit. That was my noodle timer. Give that a swish around.
They're not done yet.
They're not done yet, no. Give them a little bit more time. Meanwhile, we're making the sauce. Take a look at that. So now it's like a gravy at this stage. I'm going to go ahead and add the milk. I'm going to incorporate this, and I'm going to add my cheese now. We're going to save some of this cheese for the top. I need about a cup's worth in my sauce. I want the cheese to melt. Gotta give it a chance to melt. There it goes. See how it's starting to melt? So what are you guys' favorite recipes for the quarantine? Nemo craves comfort foods. And this is one of our favorite comfort foods. He likes eating this all the time. What are your favorite comfort foods? You have a hot dish or a favorite soup? You know the other thing I'm thinking about making soon? Beer cheese soup. It's one of my favorite comfort foods. Beer cheese soup with those garlic croutons. That sound yummy? Okay, so I've reserved some of my cheese for my topping. And I've got this beautiful cheese sauce now. And this is all ready to go. It's all melty. That needs a little bit more. Little tiny bit more. And still some unmelted cheese, so I'm going to keep stirring it. So I want it to be all nice and creamy and melted and ready for action. Now, while this is still melting down, I'm going to prepare my tuna fish. I have 2 cans of tuna fish. This recipe calls for 6 ounces of tuna. These are each 4-ounce cans, and I like extra tuna in my hot dish, so I'm going to go ahead and stick both of those in there. You can put extra tuna in your hot dish if you want. Heck, you can stick another whole can in there if you like. This recipe also calls for frozen vegetables what's wrong? Like peas and carrots, and I don't have just peas or carrots, so I am going to, they're just al dente, perfect time. Okay, here we go, guys. I'm going to take my noodles. Oops, I dropped my towel. My noodles are ready. I'm gonna drain my noodles. Come on, noodles. Get out. A few straggling noodles in here. Don't want to come out with my spoon. Spatula over here will work. And we get all the noodles out. Okay. We want to make sure this is nice and drained. Don't want a bunch of wet noodles over there. Get all the water out. Just like that. Toss your noodles. This is really a very inexpensive, very delicious comfort food that you can make for yourselves. And I'm going to go ahead and throw those right on top of the tuna, okay? I'm going to give my colander a quick rinse because that pasta is like glue. It's sticky. And if you rinse this right away, right as soon as you get it done, it comes right off. Makes it a lot easier to wash. You have to get the outside and the inside too. All the parts are important. Okay? That's ready for use again. Let that dry. And I'm going to toss my vegetables over here. Take my sauce off. My sauce is ready to go. Turn all this off, except for the oven. And I'm going to go ahead and stick my veggies in my bowl. And they're going to be on top of this hot pasta. They'll just kind of melt. You see that? We got the vegetables in there. And now, for the final piece, we need all this beautiful cheese sauce. Here goes. This is the good stuff right here. This cheesy sauce. That's what really makes it. That sauce right there. So now, we want to mix this up. Add your pepper to taste. So I'm going to put in some freshly ground pepper. You think that's good, Duke? A little bit more? No? You're good? Okay, let's mix it up. You want to get a good mix in your tuna fish so it's not all stuck in one spot there, like you see. Well, that looks good enough to eat right there already. You could totally eat it. Well, those vegetables will be a little bit cold, probably, but it's pretty hot in here. See, now you can see that the tuna fish is mixed in really good. And off it goes into my greased casserole dish. I'm going to put it in there. I've got to get every little bit of it out. All of it. All the sauce. Now I'm just going to level it off. I'm going to look like a party in here. Look at that. It's gorgeous. And to finish this off, we're going to do two things. We're going to get our cheddar cheese, sprinkle it on top. And we're going to take some breadcrumbs and sprinkle them over the top like this. Takes a steady hand. Get a nice even layer. Get into all the corners. And voila! You are ready to pop this in the oven. Preheated oven, 375 degrees. 15 to 18 minutes, and that baby's ready to eat. That's it! That was so fast and easy, right? All you gotta do is get your ingredients together, and you can make this in 10 minutes. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. Happy pandemic cooking! Bye, everyone!